Hey, everybody, it's Friday at noon, so you know what time it is. It's time for Litvak Leadership Live. It's time for your motivation, encouragement to end the week. We have a real special announcement at the end of the broadcast. Yes, that is a teaser, so you need to hang out to hear about some big news for Litvak Leadership. But before we go any further, got a question for you. Have you seen my book? Well, it's not only in a Kindle version, but it's also in a paperback. You can get it on Amazon. I encourage you to check it out. It's Proverbs for Leadership. You must understand yourself and improve if you desire leadership that produces success in others. That's what Litvak Leadership Live is all about. Understanding yourself and improving so you can help other people. We have a tremendous guest today. His name is Luke Frazier. He is CEO and principal over at Parable Story. I could go on and on here, but for the meanwhile, let's just bring Luke out. Luke, what's going on?
Yo, hello. Thank you for having me today. I want to note that is a beautiful golden retriever on the cover of that book.
That is Solomon the Golden. He is
Love
our
it.
78-pound, 3-year-old golden retriever.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
when we were developing the cover of the book, my publisher kept sending me these covers that looked like everybody else's cover.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife and I were talking about it, and it was her idea. She said Solomon needs to be on the cover. So
The voice of wisdom.
ended up here. Wait, I've got another version that I can put up between us. There we go.
There, look at that, folks.
That Solomon, my wife actually took this picture. Yeah, whoops, wrong finger. This one. My wife took the picture and the publisher loved it. And that's how Solomon ended up
So
on the
good.
cover with me.
Majestic.
Yeah,
Majestic.
it's not about me, it's about Solomon. Solomon
That's right.
the golden.
Oh, so good.
So, Luke, you are CEO of Parable Story. Tell us
Look at
about
that.
what you do.
Yeah. Yeah. So, look, at its core, we help businesses develop a really healthy brand strategy. I've got this line that I tell people right there on the cover that most brands are kind of confused a lot of times with their messaging and their strategy and their mission, their vision, their values, what differentiates them in the market. And that might feel like a desert. And so we help them get out of the desert into the promised land. And, my reality is that if I were to simplify all of that, is I really just help companies. We help companies tell their story. We help them tell their story to better engage with their people, with their employees, and to help retain more clients. And so we do brand strategy, we do employer branding, we even do some, you'll see their podcast production and storytelling. And so we just have this heart for helping clients increase the reputation of who they are as a brand and solidify that and keep it consistent. And so that is what we do, and it is it's wild to think we do it. It's an honor to do it for companies, and it is so much fun. It's so much fun to talk to people about their journeys and their stories and how they're involved into a company that matters a lot.
And now I understand the whole desert and cactus thing.
There you go. There's the
Looking at
cactus.
your website. So first of all, anyone, if you want to get in touch with Luke, Luke at Parable Story, easy way to get him. He's also all over social media. He's got a little abstention LinkedIn thing going on right now, but hit him up on email and you'll be able to get to him. So today we are talking about, this is episode 181, kind of amazing.
Congrats.
Secrets to the Dynamic Team Experience, subtitled Stares and Silence Are Not Acceptable. So, Luke, if you've seen this at all, or even if you haven't, people who watch this know what's coming. I like to open with a scripture. This week it's Proverbs 23:12. Apply your heart to instruction and your ears to the words of knowledge. Luke, what does this have to do with stares and silence not being acceptable?
Well, my goodness, I'll tell you what, in my own leadership, entrepreneurial life journey, marriage journey, all of the areas of my life, I can tell you the moments where I do not heed instruction from words of wisdom from people who have done it before me. Uh, like we'll start here. It'll end up the opposite. This lesson of applying my heart to instruction and my ears to the words of knowledge, the more and more I don't do that, the more I feel like I'm banging my head against the wall, whether that be in
Mhm.
business or whether that be in relationship or any other area. And so I think there's a real there's real wisdom really in this line. Am I, and I think about it on the brand side, I think about it on the personal side, the employee side. As a leader, am I willing to lean in with my people? Am I willing
You
to?
know, and you bring that up. So I want to kind of pivot this for a second because as you were talking about that, leaning in with your people, it made me think about because I know you're a faith man like I
Yep.
am, and people talk about hearing from God, and I'm
Hmm.
just entering into this conversation assuming you
Hmm.
have heard from God at different times,
Hmm.
but at the same time you haven't heard from God. My supposition is when we're listening, my supposition is that when we don't hear from God, it's because we haven't prepared ourselves, just like when our team just stares at us when we ask a question and they're
Hmm.
silent, it's because we haven't prepared ourselves for them to engage. Do you
Hmm.
agree with that? Disagree? What do you think?
Well, yeah, I think there's a very interesting connection and correlation from not hearing from God and then attempting to speak and having our team, not engage with us. I would say that I do find a lot of weight and wisdom in preparation.
Hmm.
And you write about it in this chapter, the fact that the more we end up preparing, the easier and more engaged our meeting is. Even if our meeting's only 5 minutes and we spend 20 minutes in preparation, we get more out of that meeting. Um, I am also personally, I hear that and I see that, and I have to really choose to lean into that. My
Hmm.
my like personal disposition is to naturally say, "Well, I'll prepare when I get there. I'll think about it as I go." And that what's funny about that is that oftentimes the unpreparedness of my disposition ends up affecting those around me and help and kind of forces them to not engage as much as they could have. And so I would just, I guess, yeah, simply agree that the I do find the more I prepare, even if things change along the way, the more I prepare for something, the more I'm ready and willing. Actually, I'm kind of creating a vessel on the personal side for God to move in whatever way He wants, and whether I believe in God or not, I think the more we can prepare, the more it allows our team to adjust in whatever way uh, they see fit for that structure. You're giving your team guardrails to move. If you don't give them any guardrails within preparation, they don't know which way to go, which is probably why there are stairs, probably why there's confusion in those kinds of settings and scenarios.
So, are you saying that when our teams are not engaging, or when we're not engaging well with our teams or individuals in our personal life or in our faith life with
Mhm.
God, is it a question of our failure? Because I believe it is that it's our failure that keeps us from hearing from God. And for everyone watching this, I had no idea I was going to go down this path to today. It's just kind of happening.
Yeah.
But I believe that if we're not hearing from God, it's our own fault. And if our team is not engaging with us, it's our own fault. If we are not in our interpersonal relationships outside of work with our spouses, with our spouse, I should say spouses, with our spouse, with our children,
Yeah.
with our friends, if there is a lack of engagement, that's a failure on our part, I believe, because we haven't prepared ourselves in the past or we're not ready now. Luke?
I have a few thoughts. One, I want to state off the bat, I believe in extreme ownership. I believe in no one else can, any actions that I do, no, I have to own them no matter what the result. And I believe in that. And I also want to just share with someone's listening here that God is also, like, from a faith perspective, just because we're here, he's also not a transactional God. And so there's a separation. Just because we failed in something, he doesn't listen, doesn't he's, not willing to be the father of a prodigal son or daughter, right? He's always willing, right there, waiting. Now, in turn, it is our job to open the door, right? It's our job to walk on the water, right? He's already prepared the way. And so I want to say that from a faith perspective, because for too long I believed in transaction. If I do this, I'll receive this. If I pray really hard, I'll get, and there is good in all of that, but I don't want us to think that is what we have to do. So to take the transaction out of there. I do think from a team perspective, if people aren't engaging, I want to take ownership over that. And to your point, you started leaning into this. Largely, that is going to be based on how is my relationship with those people, and you were already talking about that. How is my relationship with them? Have I put effort into the relationship? If I think about, wow, my team's not engaging, well, have I talked to them about their life? We do this a lot on the brand strategy side. I go in and we have interviews with employees, and I see how have they been engaging with their manager? Has their manager been engaging with them? Do they expect? Do the leaders expect that the people just work hard for them because they pay them, or is there an expectation that I'm going to pour into this person, and the amount and level at which I pour into them hopefully will be the return as which they engage.
So where's the line of demarcation
in terms of
pouring in? And because this is a struggle for me personally, in teams that I have led, where is the line of demarcation in personal relationship? I'm speaking specifically in a work situation. The line of demarcation between being someone's immediate supervisor, but also knowing them personally, because part of me in my head's like, well, what if I got to fire this person one day? How do you know, in your opinion, where to make that line?
If you have to fire them someday, hopefully you've built up enough core relationship that you guys can speak truth and love to each other. Now, look, you need healthy boundaries in work and in life. So, for instance, I'll just my wife and I went through a bunch of miscarriages last year, and that was hard for us. I know me as an individual, I'm a fairly emotive person, and emotions like that affect me. And so there were areas in work that I had to be upfront as a leader and say, I just want you to know these things are going on, and you might get different things from me, but just I am allowing you the space to come in and have this conversation with me. Also know that we have a goal here and we have business things to do. And so I think the delineation or demarcation that you're talking about is just be upfront with the boundaries, be upfront with, we do have this relationship, and at the same time, just be very clear. We're switching from personal topics now. Thank you for all the love and support. And we're going to switch now to some of the tasks at hand.
Right.
Now, depending
on
where are
your numbers? Why aren't your numbers?
Yeah. Well, and again, I think those are boundaries too, even on the business side. The numbers, the those should be baked in. It shouldn't just be out of the blue. Show me your numbers today. It's, I know once a quarter I am to provide my numbers to show that we are hitting quota. That is a legitimate thing. Now, from a leadership brand perspective, I hope we're baking in on a daily basis encouragement, support, and a listening ear along the way. How is that person doing? Oh, their numbers are quailing a little bit. Let me ask them about that first and how their life is going before I go right into, you suck, you should be doing better. And I think we just need to it's I don't think let me track back. I don't really think there is a black and white line.
No, there's not.
I think our leaders can be a lot more empathetic, but at the same time be very, very rigidly clear about the boundaries of which we're communicating.
And I think that's, at least for me personally, I have been very open over my career that empathy was something that I scored very low on. And when I was being interviewed the other day on Debbie Bettendorf's live stream, Find It, we were talking about how I was that guy in a company that I would send someone an email with a request and a date that I expected to have the information back, because I hold myself to certain dates as much as I can. So I would hold other people to dates too. And I needed to realize that just because I did that for me, that may have not been in their DNA. And one thing that you were talking about that I think leans into this is prepare more, lead less. That the more we prepare, the less we need to lead our team, because that preparation will just show through and it will engage our team. It will encourage them. And when I say team, work team, association team, faith team, family team, the more one prepares, the more people will engage. Thoughts?
I instantaneously thought about marriage, and I thought about early on in my marriage, expecting my wife to do certain things. Maybe it was, clean or do laundry or something, and just thinking, oh, well, if I just tell her to do it, she'll make it happen.
How'd that work?
Let me just tell you, for all you younger married men out there, or maybe older, don't do that.
Don't do that.
If we're really going to be good leaders in our home lives, in our businesses, in our faith, wherever, I totally adhere to live it out first. And maybe this is in some way what you're talking about, preparation. Preparation just is, we're not just talking meetings here. Don't just spend the 20 minutes. This is weeks and months of, I'm going to live out the standard of which I believe it is to lead at our company, in our family, whatever. And I'm going to lead that out in a loving, empathetic way. Now, here's the kicker, is that I'm not going to hold resentment if you don't do it my way.
Right.
And that in practice, Sean, is so difficult. In a marriage relationship, in a leadership because there is expectation from my wife. I want love from my people. I want certain output. There's contracts. There are expectations. But as a leader, if I can step back and say, I have my own standards, and what I have to do with that is lead very highly, and then be okay if my people only hit 70 or 80% of that. Well, and that it goes back to the failure piece. That's on me. Have I led to the 100% standard that I think I'm leading to? Am I expecting my people to lead past me? What happens when that's not hit? Am I okay with that?
And that's really difficult, because a few things. One, I subscribe that we are all doing things the way we think they ought to be done, because otherwise we wouldn't be doing them. I mean, it sounds really stupid to say it, but I have this live stream. The way that I think it should be done is how I am doing it. If I thought it should be done another way, well, I would do it another way. So in my mind, this is the best way for me to do it. And when
Mhm.
other people, extrapolate that now to our personal lives
Mhm.
or our professional lives, if they're not doing things the way we think they should be done,
Mhm.
there's that rub, there's that friction
Mhm.
of coaching, encouraging, but at the same time, I mean, I had an experience, and I talk about it many times, where I had a team that one guy wouldn't talk ever, and I asked him why. He
Mhm.
goes, "You have all the answers. Why do I need to talk?" And we
Wow.
we ended up solving that, and he came alive when I gave him even more opportunity for
Exactly.
leadership.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's just interesting to
Mhm.
think about, that the perspective of whatever's wrong with what we're doing,
Mhm.
almost always it's because of what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's not because of the team we're leading. You can't be leading a team of 10 people and they're all screwed up.
Mhm.
And, you know,
Yeah.
and there you have no part in it.
Well, and there's a difference between leading and managing those teams. I think too often we in the corporate world um, give people all these promotions because they're really good at their work, and then we ask them to lead people, and
Yes.
unfortunately, they go in and they're essentially micromanaging. Have you done X, Y, or Z? Are you completing this? And they don't recognize that leadership is a relationship,
Right.
and that really good leadership is on a Monday showing up to your team and doing one-on-one check-ins for 5 minutes. Hey, how are you doing? How can I make your job easier this week? And then following up on Friday. Hey, how did the week go for you? What can I alleviate for you? Where can you use more support? Where do you feel like I'm not leading you well? These are the kind of relationship building things within business that we need to be leaning into as leaders. Otherwise, we're not adhering to wisdom and instruction.
Well, and I think it's gotten even more difficult with the now given virtual element
Mhm.
of people's careers
Yeah.
and business. I personally do not believe we're ever going back to 5 days in the office every single day and everyone sees each other and
Mhm.
that's how things are. I think we will
Mhm.
be hybrid for a long, long, long time. I know
Mhm.
my children are hybrid or 100% remote.
Mhm.
I work in a hybrid atmosphere
Mhm.
where sometimes I'm in front of people, sometimes I'm like this.
Mhm.
Frankly, for what I do professionally, if it's not local, if it's far away, I won't go meet with someone for the first time unless they're willing to have a conversation like this with me to show an actual interest, to show that
Yeah.
that I'm able to help them or that they're
Sure.
interested in me helping them.
Mhm.
But that gets your mind going a whole lot about how should things be done. I love this scripture. It's from James, and it's so large. It's James 1, 2 through 4. It's going to take up
Mhm.
two little posts here.
That's
So,
good.
my brothers, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing that the trying of your faith develops patience. There's a great
Mm.
word.
Wow.
But let patience perfect its work, that you may
So
be
good.
perfect and complete, lacking nothing. So I
Mm.
can just tell you, Luke, that I have lots of things going on. People who know me
Mhm.
know that I got a lot going on, just like you got a lot going on.
Mhm.
And I have had to learn patience, and it has
Mm.
spilled out, thankfully, into those that I work with.
So
That if I'm
good.
going to give myself patience, I need to give them patience.
That's so good. That's so good. There is a lifelong lesson for all of us that I could use on a moment by moment basis. If what I'm getting out of people isn't what I expected, then I'm probably not putting into myself that same expectation.
Hmm.
I'm not adhering to that standard. Every time I see this verse, I like to share with people that the beginning of that scripture we focus on a lot, that we consider it joy, and it's like, oh well, it's really hard to consider joy through tough times. It's really hard to consider joy when I don't have patience, when faith is being developed in me. But the Greek is actually a word called command, and if we reread that scripture, it's we command joy over our circumstances.
I like that.
And whether you believe in Jesus and not, or faith or not, I believe there is power to we can, and me through Jesus, right? I can command joy over those circumstances, not because of what I know, not because of how great I am, but because of what I'm allowing to develop in me, which comes the patience and the perseverance, and that those are united in a process. They're not void of each other. And so I think as people look at that, leaders or not, heck, if you're being led, you're not leading anybody. I would begin here. Lead yourself well.
Yes.
Let patience perfect its work in you. And you know what might happen? Your leader might look at you and go, wow, that's an amazing leader. I could learn something from you. Right? Because when we realize that the perseverance that we're enduring is actually the exact thing that we needed to build us and not something else, we get to realize that everybody around us is leading us. And we get to lead them through our walk, not through our words.
Oh, that's good. I like that. That'll preach. That's good. That'll preach. So
welcome to church on a Friday afternoon, folks.
Yeah, here we go. Church and business on a Friday afternoon. So this is just one of my favorite things to talk about when it comes to leading groups of people, especially when they're not engaging. And I throw this out to all my baby boomer friends. You got to be flexible. Yeah. The days of it's my way, the highway, you do it because I say to do it, those are long gone and the door has shut. It's a different world. And the flexibility that we need to portray and embrace as leaders is what makes the difference in coaching people for the organizational success.
Yeah, we're not just talking splits here, folks. This is the ability, again, from the top of our conversation, to prepare as much as we can so that by the time we get there, we know preparation goes out the window. And what I mean by that, in the brand world and brand strategy, we do a lot of creative briefs. So prior to getting into an engagement with people, we have a creative brief. This is going to be the ideal plan for where we're headed with your brand. And as we have conversations, like, this is just the general direction. The funny thing about briefs, and if you've ever been in advertising or marketing, you'd understand this. Creative briefs, if you really believe in them, you plan, you prepare for everything, and then once the brief is handed out, 99% of the time the brief goes out the window. And that seems like, well, what was the point of all the work? The point of all the work was to get us to a place where our people engage. And once then our people engage, the reason we have people that we work with is because they have ideas and perspectives that we don't have.
Yes.
And if I'm flexible, I get the best out of my people because of that.
So now I'm going to turn this on its head. Another thing, in addition to being flexible, we need to be steadfast. But we need to be...
What a tension.
but we need to be steadfast in our commitment to leading others. We need to be steadfast in our commitment to understanding ourselves and improving. We need to be steadfast in not being so focused on our own success, but the success of those around us, because hear me, people, and I know it sounds like lip service. Go out and help 10 people achieve what they want. You'll get what you want. And is that a bad motivation? I say no, because if you're helping 10 other people get what they want, it'd be great to get what you want.
Yeah, I love the quote I hear over and over again: "A rising tide raises all ships." And I think and Wes White put in there in the comments on Facebook that barns can't raise themselves. Right? This is the reality. This is the reality, and we were not created as individuals in this world to go make our own success.
The Yoder thing was here. He loves my beard with no mustache.
I love it. I love it.
Go on with what you were
I love
saying.
it. We weren't created. If we were created as individuals, we wouldn't need relationship, and everyone needs relationship. We're all yearning
Yeah.
for it. And so to be steadfast in these scenarios means that I'm not steadfast on the way. If we're, we've talked a lot about just about meetings and structure because that's where some of these engagements happen. If I'm steadfast on my meeting agenda, I'm gonna lose.
Yeah.
If I'm steadfast on the goal of the meeting, the people in the meeting, the success of my people in the meeting, game over. And so we just have to rearrange as leaders. What is the ultimate goal of this brief, this meeting, this one-on-one, this live? Where are we really trying to go? Sean, you had an agenda for this meeting, but the fact that you've been able to be steadfast on the mere topic of your Proverbs of leadership, Litvak leadership, you're actually adjusting along the way and taking what probably in some leaders' mind is not acceptable, which is this free flow form with some things that I hit and I'm going to bounce around to this idea and this idea. By the end of this, we have a more beautiful story.
Absolutely.
We have a more relational engagement. And going back to the, wife wanting my wife to do things. Well, if I just live those things out and speak life into her and tell her how beautiful she is and tell her how much I appreciate her help when she does it, it makes me appreciate the work that I do. And if she ever does it, it just makes it that much better.
So I want to ask you, you bring up relational engagement, and how does relational engagement work with parables, parable story?
It's everything. I named Parable. Parable brand is what we call the company,
Okay.
and I named Parable because what a parable is, it's a impactful story. It's a
Hmm.
small, simple story that is spoken to the right people at the right time, in the right way, and it leaves massive impact. And I believe that every company has a parable, and what the world calls brand strategy or brand story or whatever you want to call it. But oftentimes what happens is our companies are so fractional when it comes to relationships, our relationships with our lead team, our relationships with our employees, and our relationships with our clients. And if those three stories are incoherent with the overall brand mission and vision and values and differentiating factors of our company, then we're going to miss it.
Absolutely.
We're not going to be of value and service ultimately to our clients who are helping us build profit. We all want to make money as businesses. We do. We probably wouldn't be in business. We all say we want to help people, but at the end of the day, we want to make money.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
yes, yes. But if along the way that's our only factor, then we miss out on the stories. We miss out on the stories of our employees. We miss out on the stories of our clients, which the stories of our people and the stories of our clients make up our business anyway.
Hmm.
And so to me, when we're building and revising and simplifying brand strategy for companies, I go directly to the people that make it happen, all the way down the chain, to better understand their perspective, their livelihood, why they go to work every day, what they connect to the best, what they don't love the most about the brand and the strategy and the mission and the values and the differentiating factors and the ideal clients and all of the things. Because without those relationships, nothing will happen. We won't get the profit at the end of the day. And so it's really a shift for brand to know that we will make money, but to focus on relationship, because if we focus on relationship, we will build a brand that is long lasting. And most of us want legacy built brands. We want brands
Yes.
that stay on forever, right? To go to our children or to reach thousands and millions of people in this world. And if we want that, we will focus on the relationship right in front of us.
Well, and it goes, writing my book was a personal self-discovery, awareness
So good.
journey. And I've talked about this, that the book that I started to write was How I'm Smarter Than You, and this is how you should do things. That wasn't the title, but it might as well have been.
Yeah.
And but what it became was my realization to understand yourself and improve and put the success of others forward, to want to
So good.
help others. And that's something that, at 57 years old, I wish I would have known at 30 years old.
Yeah.
But I'm not looking back in a somber way. I'm looking ahead to what can still be achieved in others and for myself and my family because of that realization. So I say that because when people say, I've been in business so long, this has been my experience, it's not going to change. Oh, yes, it is. It's going to change one way or another, because you're either going to move up or you're going to move out.
Yeah.
You're going to need to go through a period of self-discovery and come to the realization of helping others, whatever that definition is within your world. And you will eventually get to the point where the silence and the stares are not acceptable. And when I was first writing this chapter, it was the silence and the stares of others is not acceptable. Well, it shouldn't be acceptable to yourself. Look at yourself and see, what do you need to do to help those other people? So we've gone 37 minutes thus far. We could go on forever, I think, on this topic, but I'm going to first, before I forget, let me put, here's how to get in touch with Luke.
That's right.
Luke at Parable Story. Luke has got a dynamic agency, or you call it agency or a company?
Agency, company. Love it. Great.
And you will get that personalized service, someone that will talk to you, someone that will listen to you and build what you're looking for. Additionally, let's not forget that you can connect with me on various social media. They're all listed there. And for those of you that are like, hey, what happened to TikTok? Yeah, I've joined the TikTok is Gone Club. So no more TikTok for Sean and Litvak Leadership. But you can hit me in on all those social media there with direct messages, or send me an email. We are going to wrap up with this scripture. I'm going to hand it over to Luke in our topic that we've been discussing, Luke. What does Proverbs 23:24 say to you? The father of the righteous will greatly rejoice, and he who fathers a wise child will have joy of him.
You caught me in a tender season, Sean. We are 3.5 months out from our first baby.
Woo-hoo!
And I am just in this season thinking about fatherhood and thinking about all of this. But as I think about, my own relationship with God, or my relationship with my father, or my relationship with business leaders and anyone who's ever I've ever looked up to or been mentored by, I think about the times where I have failed and I have gotten back up, and how in those moments the greatest mentors I've ever had, the greatest leaders I've ever had, have been so proud of me. And I think if I can personally strive as an individual for righteousness, I think God will be proud of me. I think my leaders that lead me will be proud of me. I think I will be proud of the people around me. And I think, to me, that is really, chalked up in pursuing healthy relationships, pursuing empathy, and leading people towards a standard of truth and love. And if we can do that, we will live out amazing stories in our life, failure or not, success or not. And that gets me excited for the times where I have no clue what I'm doing ahead.
Well, and there will be more of those times.
Thank you, Wes.
Dad is the best job you'll ever have.
Yes.
And you will be genius, and then you won't. And then you will.
What a joy. What a joy.
And it's a great ride. I got to spend an entire weekend with my son a couple weekends ago at his old college campus, cheering on my Illini to defeat at the hands of IU, but we had a great time.
There you go.
Nonetheless.
Love
so
it.
Everyone, this has been Litvak Leadership Live. Luke, thank you again for being here today. Oh, and the big announcement that I almost forgot to tell everyone, this is the last Friday edition of Litvak Leadership Live. Starting Monday the 13th, we are moving to 8 p.m. Eastern. We're taking this away from lunch in the workday, headed into a Monday night slot where we will encourage people after the greatness or horror, depending upon your perspective of Mondays, to get you going for the rest of the week. So that's the big announcement. Luke, again, thank you. Everyone else, be happy, be well, be blessed in all you do, and we'll see you Monday the 13th.